Hey everyone, what's up? Today we are at webinar 6, and today's webinar, is just going to be a questions and answer session. So Q&A with me, Jonathan Pan, technical evangelist for Bixby. You can follow me on Twitter at John_without_the_h. And a little bit about myself. So my colleagues were telling me to talk a little bit more about myself. So I guess I can try that. I'm not really used to that, but my name is Jonathan Pan. I've been a developer evangelist for Bixby for a little while now, and it's been pretty awesome. A great time working with the people here at Viv. And I actually won the 2019 Samsung Internal Hackathon. And that was when I built a Pokédex that really showed a lot of the stats on Pokemon. You know, I don't know how many of you guys play Pokemon or stuff like that, but I've always enjoyed it for a long time. 4 cats, 1 large orange one, a calico, a black one, and kind of a brown one. I don't know what to describe that one as, but yeah, 4 entire cats that I have to deal with every single day. Lots of fun. And yeah, so since this is a Q&A, just feel free to ask whatever questions you guys have in the Zoom chat. And, you guys can talk about, I don't know, like you guys can talk about what you want to do for Thanksgiving, things like that too, if you want. As for me, I'm going to eat some food. Hopefully you guys are eating some food too. I know people like eating food during Thanksgiving, so yeah. All right. Mike is asking, let's get to the first question, and you guys can just, keep putting them in there. I'll get to them. My capsule keeps repeatedly getting rejected by the submission team for the same thing, which it does not look like capsule lock-in is achieved, but they offer no suggestions on how to accomplish lock-in. What are my options? Okay, so capsule lock-in, this is a great question, Mike. And in order to achieve capsule lock-in, I can just give one quick example. So you can do, and this capsule actually does that. So say hello, or no, say help me, I'm trapped. So this is a really simple capsule.
Help me, I'm trapped.
That just repeats what you are saying or what you want the capsule to say back to you. So it's a copycat capsule. And this one's actually on the marketplace, but not this specific version. Here you can see conversation drivers at the bottom of the capsule. So these conversation drivers, what they end up doing is that during a result view, these conversation drivers will lock you into that result view for about 8, 16 seconds, however long it is. Platform determines that number. And when you are locked in at this level right here, you'll be able to continue to do actions in your capsule without using name dispatch. So in other words, I don't have to say, ask copycat to say, help me, I'm trapped every single time, right? So with these conversation drivers, now they can just say, help me, I'm not trapped in the capsule anymore. And it'll just do that without name dispatch because now you're trapped in the capsule. You're locked in the capsule. So if they're talking about capsule lock-in during a result view, you have to add conversation drivers. So yeah, this is a result view, and this is how you lock it in. Now, if you have a list of result view that goes to a detail view, that's kind of a different problem. That one, I actually think it's a bug in the platform where you can't really lock yourself in from a list of to a single. But if you're just in a single result view like this, you can use conversation drivers to lock you in. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question, Mike. If you are in the latter scenario where you're going from a list of to a singular result, that's a different problem that you might have to actually, ask us directly. You can ask us on Slack. Might be able to help you there. So the next question by Jenny: what is the best way to get details from a list with voice when the number of the items in the list is not known beforehand? So show me all the cats in the area and you get back a list of 20 cats. Show me cat number 3. Okay, the next time there are only 2 cats returned. Okay, so Bixby out of the box supports the first one, the second one, the third one, and maybe up to like the 7th or 10th, something like that, up to the 10th one. It also supports the second to last cat or the last one. So unfortunately, if you want them to have the utterance show me the first cat or the third cat, you might have to add some kind of training for that, and then make an action that is dispatched based on that training. So I'm not sure if I can really replicate that too quickly in this code, but I do have the cat tutorial pulled up. Let's say you show some pets.
I found 7 pets that need some cuddles.
So you'll notice that I can say the first one or the second one, and Bixby should work. The first one.
This is Moxie. Moxie works.
So you can see how out of the box, you don't have to do anything additional, but in a list of view, you can just say the first one, second one, third one, and it'll select that one. Now, unfortunately, the first cat should not work, but you know, the only one way to find out. The first cat. Yeah, so it didn't work. You'd have to add for training if you really want the user to use this utterance, and in order to have an action filter through the results of the pets. So that would be what I recommend. Excuse me. In that case, if you want the first cat as an utterance, but otherwise, first one, second one, third one, those just work out of the box. So you know, you generally don't want to keep too many results on the screen at the same time, and that's why the first one, second one, last one typically work for most users. So, okay. Fred asked, what's the difference between result view lock-in and input view lock-in? And that's a great question. In an input view, you are locked in for a while. So actually, I'll just give a demonstration back in Copycat. So let's just say, help me. And you can see here, this is a result view. So in order to do result view lock-in, you need conversation drivers. However, let's say we're talking about input views now.
Reset voice debug message. Which charming voice would you like to hear?
This here is an input view, and this input view is automatically locking you in until you select one of these voices or until it times out. So you don't have to do anything specific or really different to lock your capsule into an input view. That's by default once you hit an input view. You'll be there for a good, I don't know, 12, 16 seconds on the actual device before a screen pops up saying, what would you like to do instead? Or what would you like to do? Or, you know, I'm here for you. Some screen with a dialogue that lets you know that you're not in this input view anymore. So yeah, that's the difference between input views and lock-in views. Okay, so Mike says, I have added a conversation driver. And okay, so that's a very good point, Mike. And we may have to actually look at your capsule in more detail. So feel free to ping myself, or Roger's actually on vacation. So feel free to ping me. I'd be happy to take a look at your capsule and see why the conversation driver isn't locking you in. So, okay. How long is lock-in time, and when does the timer start? When the Bixby response starts, or when Bixby finishes reading something? I'm asking because I have a capsule that uses SSML audio, which takes like a minute or two to stop playing. That's a great that's a great question, DigiVoice. And the capsule lock-in time begins after TTS finishes speaking. So after your whole TTS thing finishes, you know, whether it's Bixby reading or whether it's an audio clip that you play through TTS, then the capsule lock-in timer starts. On result views, it's shorter. It's between, I think, if I had to guess, between 8 and 16 seconds. Platform adjusts that based on, you know, their data and stuff. But, you know, that's the ballpark range of how much time you have after TTS finishes speaking in a result view specifically. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Daniel. And Jenny, you asked, I created an enum to deal with the language for the first cat. Do you think it is okay design-wise to show 10 at a time? Then the enum is manageable. Interesting. So it sounds like you're making an enum for, I believe, first, second, third, fourth, so on. I would say that's fine, and really, like, however you design your capsule, the most important thing is how well it works. So if you're testing your capsule, and let's say you say the first one, the second one, and it's doing exactly what you would expect it to do, and then let's say you want to test like some outlying uh, things that it might affect, right? Like maybe you can ask, show me cats again, and then if it only shows you one cat, then that might be a problem, right? So but just make sure you test it. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's how I view coding in general. Well, that's not the best mentality to always take with you, but yeah, really just test it out. And if your enum modeling and structure works, great, go with it. And from what you're telling me, though, I can see that it could work. Yeah. And from Dyung, how is certification queued? If I submit a capsule and it gets rejected, does it drop to the back of the queue? I have a capsule that's been rejected due to dispatch name, took a week to be reviewed. Does it take another week to get re-reviewed, even though it's just a dispatch name? I ask because if the dispatch name gets rejected again, I may miss the December 9th cutoff and also the opportunity for eligible store credits. That's a great question, Dyung. So capsules are usually almost always reviewed in order of submission. So when you do get rejected and you come back, if you get rejected again, unfortunately, you get back to the queue, to the back of the queue again. Now, I will say this, we are going to be reviewing capsules like mad between now and December 9th. Just to give you guys an idea, there's a ton of capsules that have been submitted and that they're hammering out reviews for. And we've brought on 4 new people as well to also make sure that we can review capsules very quickly, or as quick as we can for you guys. I totally understand how you guys feel. It can be frustrating waiting for a while. So but we're gonna do our best. And yeah. So Mike says, it's a result view. I have a conversation driver. So yeah, like I said, Mike, feel free to ask us in Slack. I'd be happy to help. And so to Morph's question, how do you control the input view timeout? Okay, so input view timeout, there is no way for us to control from the developer side. So right here, let's say we have this this input view right here. We can't really do much about it to control how long the input view stays around. Now, there are a few hacky methods to make it stay around for a very long time, but there's problems with that type of design pattern, and it's not recommended. I'm not even sure why I mentioned that. So, for now, I would just say, just to trust, how long the platform decides people should be locked into your input view. Because when they decide that number, it's really for the best experience to end users for the lock-in. And do keep in mind, lock-in happens after TTS. So if you have a bit longer of a spiel here, the capsule lock-in timer starts after that. So everyone in any input view will get at least TTS time plus another 16 seconds to answer that query. So yeah, let's see. I have warnings for multi-cardinal properties in the views, but I set max to 1. Is this warning relevant? No, it's not. It's not too relevant. Your capsules should be fine even with that warning. I think there's ways to fix it with like setting it to 1 or whatever. That should do it, but you'll have to do that also in the modeling portion. So, for example, if we go to one of these models. So I got to drag around the Zoom window. So, if it looks like I'm clicking on random stuff, I'm actually clicking on something, or moving them out of the way. So, okay, right here you can see how this text being 1, this will also have to be 1 as well as in the view. Somewhere in the view, when you match something or whatever, that would have to be 1 as well. Sometimes the cardinality warnings are a little annoying though. Just you can tinker around, but it's not going to affect your capsule that much for the most part. So DigiVoice said, thanks, John. My pleasure. Always happy to help you guys or answer any questions you guys throw at me. And okay, Mike, great. Shoot me that capsule on Slack. I will take a look at it this afternoon. And for Morph, excuse me, is it possible to do a refresh from a results view that goes into an input view. Yes. So this is actually one of the, excuse me, most, I would say, reliable ways to automatically go from a result view to an input view. And I actually use this technique on one of my capsules that's in the marketplace called QuizIt Trivia. So QuizIt Trivia, I mean, I guess I can just give a quick demonstration of it. Let's see, where's code? So my capsules, right here, QuizIt. Okay. All right, so, okay, it's got some deprecation warnings. I should really get on that and fix it, but okay, just start it up.
Welcome to QuizIt. Let's start a quiz. Select a category.
Let's just do general
Select a
knowledge,
difficulty.
easy.
QuizIt is a trivia
So
game
here,
with thousands of questions.
this is a result view, but you'll see how it says your game will automatically start in 8 seconds because I wanted to give a quick tutorial to the users so they know how to play the game.
Where is the train station?
Oh man, okay. That's quite the name of the train station. But here you can see that this here is an input view. So we bounce from a result view to this input view. And let's say I answer the question as Denmark. Right here, this is another result view. I wanted to have a rich layout to show the user, you know, what they got right, what they got wrong. And then over here, you can see how it bounced back to an input view. So I'm using refreshes in this way to keep bouncing back and forth between result view and input view so that the user, it's both hands-eye free, friendly, and it's also a way to kind of force the user to continue the flow through the game in this case. You know, through the flow of your capsule that you expect them to. So yeah, and also this code is on my personal GitHub. If you want to check it out, if you want to know like how I implemented this at least. In terms of the exact code snippet, I can show you. It is somewhere in the quiz view, I believe. So yes, right here. I have this refresh in the result view where it shows a delay second of 8.5 if it's in the tutorial phase, or if it's in the answer phase, it's a 6-second refresh. So, you know, that way I just set whatever timer I want for which phase of the tutorial. And yeah, so feel free to give that a try if you need this type of functionality to bounce back and forth between result views and input views like this. Okay, so let's see. Why does sometimes a result view can match a concept and the input view cannot find it? Okay, so let's see. I think I understand this question, but so what it does is an input view is for when you're requesting or when an action is requesting for a specific input. So let's take one of these actions, let's say get quiz, right? Right here, it's waiting for a category, and you know, Bixby doesn't have a category supplied to it yet. So this is when that input view would pop up for this category. But theoretically, let's say, okay, and also result views are matching the outputs of an action. So in other words, since this outputs a quiz, this is when you could use a result view to match the quiz. Whereas for an input view, you do it for an input like this. For the new store countries, do we need to change the target to Bixby Mobile E and US for it to work in both Great Britain and US, for example? Question from Ilarna. Okay, and for the store countries tag, what you guys want to do is you can do store countries and then all. Right now we are accepting capsules for that, which is fine. So you can also do only allow US, but you do want to have either the US or all. So, you know, something like this. Now for your targets, this is the language that your phone is set on, right? So since there's no marketplace yet in Great Britain, there's no way for your capsule to actually show up in Great Britain, even if you enable, let's say, Bixby, I think it's GB, if I remember correctly. So let's say you have both of these. What this means is that if their phone itself is set in Great Britain language settings in their Bixby, and they're in the US marketplace, so let's say they have this, what is it, allow US, right? So then this capsule will show up for them if they are in the US marketplace and their phones are set to this language. So that's what this target does, is it targets the language that your phone is set in. And this here targets the marketplace. And right now, there's only 2 marketplaces, US and Korea, that are currently deployed for third-party developers. So let's say if you have Korea here as well, if they're attached to the Korean market and their phone is set in English US, they will be able to see your capsule. But for the review process and for DevJam, I highly recommend just doing all or just allow US just to keep it simple, right? This is fine. So that's where I would go with that. And yeah. So Jung said, thank you. You're very welcome. And Frank is asking, how did your copycat capsule get the ability to change Bixby's voice? I haven't seen any way to have a capsule change phone settings. Okay, that's a great question, Frank. And I will show you. Right here, we have copycat. And let me move around my Zoom windows. So say, wow, how did I change my voice? Okay. All right, hang on. Let's just do this.
Wow, how did I change my voice?
And you can click here, change voice.
Reset voice debug message. Whose voice would you like to use?
And let's just use Amy's voice from the UK.
Wow, how did I change my voice?
How exciting. So yes, you can change Bixby's voice. There's many built-in voices in Bixby. And the code for this, I'll just show you the code snippet. There it is. It's this very pretty looking JSON object that contains all the currently working voices for Bixby. And I tested all these voices on device and verified that they do work. So hopefully when this version of Copycat gets deployed, it works, crossing my fingers. And there's just some functions that parse in the language SSML tags for the voices. And that is what does it. So, you got some couple helper functions here that just parse it into, that just parse it in there like that. And there is documentation for that. Let me see if I can find this in a couple searches. I don't know if that'll do it. Voice using SSML, Bixby voices right here. So yeah, you can just search voice, and here you can see that these are the voices. There's one example for the proper syntax to use it. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Frank. And let's go on. How many facts is the minimum to qualify for DevJam? Are the walkthrough videos for how to get through the approval process a guarantee? So, great question, Fred. How many facts is the minimum? Is 10 facts with 10 images. Do use 10 unique images, 1 image per fact. That will guarantee that we won't reject your capsule based on, you just use 1 image for all the facts. Or 20 facts without images. And yeah, that's the minimum number of facts needed for a capsule to be eligible, for a fact capsule to be eligible for DevJam. And are the walkthrough videos for how to get through the approval process a guarantee? And I will say, no, they're not a guarantee, but the capsule approval series on our YouTube is a great starting point for getting your capsules through. If you spend about 30 minutes of your time watching those videos, you should have a very good understanding of, what is going to get your capsule rejected. I highly recommend the dispatch name video. I recommend the hints video as well, because for fact capsule, you don't really have to worry about the UI that much. So you probably don't need to worry about the UI UX video, but I do recommend that. And just to show you guys where the channel is, youtube.com/c/Bixby developers. Here it is. And the specific series that I'm talking about is this one. So you have the second and third parts for dispatch names and hints and testing that I highly recommend. Also, if you're just getting started, right here we have the facts template video. It's a 13-minute watch, and you'll be able to take your capsule you'll just be able to start from scratch and bring your capsule into the marketplace if you follow these steps. And also, don't violate the dispatch names and hints rules. So yeah, for morph, why does sometimes a result view can match a concept and an input view cannot find it? Okay, yeah, I think I already answered this one, but basically, I'll give it another quick answer. Basically, an input view is purely for an input to an action. So just like going back to this model, here you can see that it's collecting this input. This is when you would make an input view for this if you need an input view for it. So let's just take this input as an example. I have an input view for it right here. It's a little confusing because I named the actual model input, but this is an input view for the concept input. And here you'll see that this one actually pops up, this specific view. So I can just, give a quick demonstration of that. So we can just click on start over.
Reset all debug message. What would you like me to say?
And I have some debug messages in there just for obviously debugging. But here you can see that this is the input view that matches this input that's in this action, copycat right here. And once I go through the inputs, so this is an input view. Wait, actually, this will be the result view.
This will be the result view.
And here you can see that this is the result view that matches the output concept right here, this output. And in case you guys are wondering, all this crazy stuff, I am making a video on this capsule specifically on how to drop models when you need to drop models, and how to kind of reset your session state mid-session, and how to keep things in your session when you need them. So yeah, that's what this whole capsule is about. And for QuizIt, no, a question from Young. For QuizIt, is it possible to add an image and text on top of A, B, C, D options? Can you share your GitHub URL? Okay, so let me go to the GitHub first. GitHub / I think it's, okay, yeah, we'll just go to GitHub first. So my GitHub's not too clean, but I think it's, how do I look at my repos? I forget. My repositories, here it is. So QuizIt right here. So yeah, this is it. I will post it, the sample code for my QuizIt capsule right there. Dyung, it's in the chat, so feel free to click on it, clone it, take whatever code you need from it. And yeah, and this will be my GitHub. I have some pretty awesome commit messages. Yes, that's how you can tell. But yeah, I didn't really make a README or anything for this one. But yeah, there's the code for QuizIt right there. And let's see. Yes, can you add an image and text on top of ABCD options? So this, I'm actually not entirely sure if you can add an image with the ABCD options. I know that you can add an image for sure, but whether it's with the ABCD options or not, that I'm not entirely sure. But to give you an idea, in an input view, let's see, let's go to the answer input view right here. Right, so if we render this, we can see that we can have some stuff here. Okay, so QuizIt doesn't have the sample code for this, but one of the sample capsules does have the sample code for this. So let me actually find that for you real quick. GitHub, Bixby, developers right here. And we can see, I believe it's the escape, one of the escape rooms. Okay, we have, let's see, let's try searching here. Oh, okay, well, I'm not sure where they went, but there should be. Okay, this is Korean. So, oh, right here, open-ended adventure game. I'm pretty sure it's this one. This one has a picture in the input view. And yeah, resources, base, view, I believe it's a command input. Yes, right here. Template macro, selection of states. Okay, well, I think, okay, one of these, I'm not going to spend too much time looking for this, but one of these two, I'm pretty certain have a picture in the input view. So you can poke around at that, and then you can see if you can add some ABCD after the picture? I think the answer to that is yes, though. Yes, you should be able to have a picture and then ABCD after that. So yeah. Can you drop a link to your GitHub? Okay, yeah, I dropped it to QuizIt, and you'll be able to find my GitHub through that. Is it on the roadmap to accept MP3 for SSML audio? It's a lot of work to convert to WAV for skills. Great question. I can say confidently that yes, it is on the roadmap to use MP3 with SSML. However, unfortunately, I can't give you any type of ETA for that. So yes, but that is a very highly requested feature. I highly recommend, if it's not already a requested feature, add our documentation. So right here, support somewhere in here, you can request it, upvote it, right? When you guys upvote stuff, we take this very seriously in terms of implementing things from our side. So yeah, feel free to make a request for MP3 SSML if it's not already there and upload it. How can I control what happens after input view timeout, even if I cannot control the time limit? Yes, so unfortunately, once your capsule times out, that's pretty much when the user is going to be able to exit your capsule. And the reason why we do this is because we don't want, developers making a way to permanently lock users into their capsule, right? So for some really perhaps niche use cases, I can see why someone might want a longer lock-in to an input view. Like I said, there are workarounds, but I'm not really going to share those for that because I don't even know why I keep mentioning that. But okay, so Fred asks, on average, how many iterations of rejections does it take to get to approval? So I will say this: I do think that people that go through the deployment checklist more thoroughly, people that watch some videos and stuff, they tend to get rejected no more than one time that I've seen. I will also say this: unfortunately, the more complex a capsule is, the more likely it is to get rejected a couple times, because the fact is that there's just more factors in it for it to get rejected. But that's not to say that we don't encourage that, because obviously we do. And we are always willing to work with you guys to make sure your capsule gets in, whether it's on a timely manner or whether it's, to actually help overcome the hurdles that your capsule might be experiencing from a code perspective. So I'd say on average, though, maybe 2 rejections, and that would be the average. Two rejections, yeah. But I've seen tons of capsules come in and get accepted first pass, right? So yeah. Let's see. Fred's asking, I'm worried that if I have to go through 2 to 3 iterations and each one takes 4 to 5 days, I'm already out of time to get in by 12/9. So yes, unfortunately that is the case. And, I do highly suggest to start submitting your capsules now. I will say that, like I said, we are here to work with you guys. So submit them. You can ping us too, and then we'll try our best to get to your capsules as soon as possible. We are definitely, putting a lot more resources and time, especially towards the home stretch, to get your capsules reviewed as fast as possible. So Hassan asks, hi, can you show again how to change the progress dialog? Because I'm on the latest version of Bixby Studio and the method you showed last time didn't work. If it's possible to do it live in this demo, it's quick and easy. Okay, sure. So depending on your action, you can change your progress dialog. So let's just go to Copycat. And Copycat is a calculation. So a calculation actually shows no progress dialog at all. So in other words, when you do a query, the Bixby logo will show loading, but there will be no progress dialog. However, if we turn this into a search, right? So let's just do that. Say, what will show up for my progress dialog?
What will show up for my progress dialog?
And actually, if we want, we can actually kind of force the progress dialog to show up, generally with a long query. Or sorry, if SSML takes a while to load, then it's going to take you're likely to see the progress dialog.
What
See
will
here?
show up for my progress dialog?
And
What will
let
show
me
up for my
stop Bixby.
progress?
So no progress dialog actually showed up there, but you know, in order to make a progress dialog, you can just right-click, new dialog. Excuse me, and I'm just going to name this copycat progress. And you just change this to progress, and you want to match the output. So when you match you want to match not the model itself, obviously, but what gets returned right here, the output itself. So, you want to match that for your progress dialog. And right here, you can just change, this is my new progress dialog. Obviously, that's probably not what you want to say to the user when you're loading. So something more like figuring out what to say to you. So let's see if that shows up. No, okay. Let's just copy paste that a couple more times, see if it will show up now. Wow, okay, so yeah, it's loading really fast, but sometimes when it loads slower, this will show up right here. Just match the output of your action that you're trying to write a progress dialog for. So yeah, okay, I'm just gonna delete that, I don't need that, and change this back to a calculation. Okay, so is there a zoom for manipulatable map to use instead of map card? Okay, so no, I believe the only component that we have that's a map is the map card. At least I'm pretty certain of that. Now I think there's a zoom key in the map card, but yeah, I believe the map card is the only thing we have right now. With the lockout, are we able to know that the user is exiting? So no, I don't believe there's any callbacks or any way to know when a user exits your capsule, unfortunately. So if you're trying to collect some type of metadata or anything like that in terms of when the user exits, yeah, unfortunately that we don't have. So yeah, those two would be great feature requests. Feel free to make them in the at our documentation site, bixbydevelopers.com. Next question from Frank Engelman. I had a capsule get rejected because it had an if clause with no else clause in a view. In my case, the else was to do nothing. Do we always need to specify an else? Interesting. I'm very surprised that your capsule got rejected for that. Is there a list of phone settings that Bixby capsules can see? Okay, so the first, that's two separate questions. So I'll answer the first one. No, you should not always have to specify something in an else, because obviously there are times when you won't want your capsule to do anything. So yeah, there might have been some other reason or something. I'm actually not sure why you were rejected for that. Maybe if you'd like, I can take a look at it or something. Feel free to ping me, Frank. Always happy to help. So is there a list of phone settings that Bixby capsules can set? To my knowledge, no, you can't really mess with the phone settings with Bixby, at least from a third-party perspective. So yeah, that's just kind of the way it is right now. So okay, question from Hassan. Maybe the progress dialog because the results were loaded fast. Thanks for the live demo, appreciate it. No problem, always happy to help. Are we limited to using ES5 and writing in JavaScript? I'm actually not sure what ES we're on when it comes to the JavaScript portion of stuff. But yeah, there are some limitations. I think async await work now. And I don't remember, is that ES6? I can't really remember my versions of JavaScript right now. But feel free to try it out. Obviously, when you punch in some code and it works or doesn't work, you'll find out pretty quickly. I don't think imports work. So, but imports, is that ES6? But yeah, I don't think imports work, but I do think async await works. So it might be some amalgamation of ES5 and ES6, and I don't know if we have ES7 yet, but yeah. Just throw the code in there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you'll have to convert it back to something like good old ES5 with all that funky syntax, but yeah. So, okay, another question from Hassan. Can you tell which store section has the fewest capsules and the one with the most? So I can tell you for sure which one has the most. Well, it's probably a toss-up between a few, actually, a few. I can tell you which store sections have a lot. The fun and games one has a lot. You know, we've been getting obviously a lot of fact capsules, a lot of joke capsules, and some game capsules. It's in my opinion that we should actually separate it to fun and games. But yeah, so fun and games has a lot of capsules. I believe the sound has a lot of capsules. So right here, I'm going through my Bixby marketplace. Let's see. We have, is it health and fitness? Health and fitness has a lot too, because a lot of the ambient sound capsules, I'm not sure if you guys can see it that well, but yes, this has a lot of ambient sound stuff, right, in the health and fitness category. Let's see, what else has a lot? Sports has a lot, but luckily none of these are actually eligible for DevJam. These are submitted before DevJam, but they're basically like each individual sports team, someone made a capsule to be able to obviously track scores and, you know, their records and stuff like that for each sports team. But in terms of submitted for DevJam, there's not too many for sports. And let's see, in terms of other categories with not many things in there, we have the local. Local is actually pretty, not too many for DevJam in the local category. Health and fitness, like I said, there's a lot there. Games and fun, there's a lot. I think food and drink has had a few for DevJam that I can recall off the top of my head. Education and reference also has quite a bit because, you know, a lot of fact capsules can qualify for that. And let's see, arts and lifestyle. This one has a good amount too. It's got all the horoscope ones. But in terms of for DevJam, I don't think there's too many for arts and lifestyle. And let me just go through a few more. Excuse me. Movies and TV doesn't have too many right now. I'm actually pretty sure that there's not too many for that. And let's see, photography. Yes, also photography doesn't have many. So that's another good category that I'd recommend if you want to, you know, go for that. Shopping currently only has 3 total, and these are all internally built capsules by the Viv team or Bixby team. You got Ticketmaster, Whisk, and 1-800-Flowers. Let me drink some water, actually. Take a short break. I'm talking so much, so. Okay. Also, the smart home category basically has nothing. So if you can figure out how to rig Bixby up to some kind of smart things or just like any type of smart plug or whatever, that's a great capsule to consider building. The sports, like I said, not too many for DevJam specifically, even though there are a lot in there. Travel and transportation. This one is actually one that has barely any capsules in as well. So I'm not even sure there's been a single capsule submitted for DevJam for travel transportation. Don't quote me, but that's a great category to consider building something for the 1 grand prize. The utilities section, there are a good number of utility section capsules, and there's a couple pretty nifty ones in here. But you know, I think that's a reasonable section to kind of compete in. It's not too overwhelming. And weather, there's not too many in weather either. So you could, you know, build something for weather as well. I will say, I do know there's a couple pretty good capsules coming in for weather. So, you know, just a heads up in that. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question in terms of which categories I recommend and which ones are kind of over or have a lot for. So is there a way to find a word in all the projects? I don't think I fully get this question, but if you want to clarify, that'd be great, but I'll try to answer this one. So right now, we aren't really conveying to developers too transparently, like exactly which capsules are in what category or anything like that. But hopefully I gave you a quick synopsis of what's in the marketplace and just the type of capsules I've seen submitted for DevJam. So yeah, Fred asks, what DevJam capsules has so far impressed me and is a contender to win the 10K? All right, so that's a great question from Fred. There's a few capsules in the review pipeline that I have seen that are very impressive. Now, me personally, I'm a gamer, so there's a couple really cool game capsules coming in that I'm excited about. And there's a really cool weather one coming in as well. And these are just the ones I've seen, and I've only seen a small fraction of the ones qualify for DevJam. So, I'm sure we're going to have some pretty awesome capsules. Can't wait to see what you guys build and submit. And oh yeah, okay. So Simon says, today I submitted my capsule to travel transportation. That's great. We need more capsules in that category, and we have one contender for DevJam and that category, travel transportation. So Simon, you have a good chance of winning there. And Hassan, thank you very much. Another question: can non-Bixby enabled device owners in the near future have a way to see which dispatch names are already taken or available? And that's a great question, Hassan. And unfortunately, as of today, no. But in the future, I can say that could very well be a thing. I know we have a capsule on the marketplace that does do that, but like you said, it's for Bixby-enabled devices. But theoretically, whoever who made that capsule could probably build a web portal or something, and we could, with that web portal, you could at least check somewhat up to date in terms of dispatch names. So yeah, hopefully that's coming soon. Unfortunately, I can't say if it's too soon or not, but I do recommend to choose something slightly not too predictable, or like, let's say you make a California Facts capsule, you probably shouldn't name it California Facts, but you can name it like even after yourself, like if like John's California Facts, or Epic California. Just take an adjective, slap it in front, and it's very unlikely that that dispatch name is taken. In terms of like picking out a good dispatch name, not just for the $300 store credit, but to actually kind of brand your capsule and to give it a good a good experience to the user, that's a bit trickier, right? So you can't probably just slap random adjectives in front. But if you don't have a Bixby enabled device, it can be a little tricky to check that. So yeah, for now, that's the best answer I can give you. But feel free to reach out to us on Slack. We'd be happy to at least do a quick check for you to see if that dispatch name is taken at the moment. If you're unsure and you can't access the Bixby marketplace, always reach out to us. Don't be shy to ask us questions. So Morph is clarifying his question. If there is a word I want to search in code, layouts, views, actions, something to find in files. Okay, so you can find specific files with Control P, right? So you have I can search for my README, I can search for, let's say, a layout file, right, like this, with a Command P or Control P, depending on which platform you're on. So in terms of finding a specific word in a specific word code, I don't believe that's supported yet by our simulator. So I will be the first to admit that I do use VS Code for that functionality. Let's say I'm trying to find this specific string and reset input. I bust open VS Code and do my Command Shift F to find it, and then replace all instances if I need to. But in terms of file search, that is currently supported with Command P. So yeah. But VS Code's Shift Command F or Shift Control F is not supported as of today. But I'm sure the IDE team is working on that. So Fred is asking, yes, global search and replace, yes. So unfortunately, that does not exist yet. So Simon answers, or Simon says, let's see. Unfortunately, but with Samsung Store, they don't send out of the US, and it's difficult when someone outside the US wants to use their code. Or do you have a solution? Oh geez, okay. I'm really sorry to hear that, Simon. We obviously we did encourage international participants in this. This is not a question that I can answer, unfortunately. Maybe someone who knows some of the logistics a little bit better could answer your question. So yeah, I might be able to try and ask around, but unfortunately, I just don't think there's a solution for that right now. And you can reach out to me in Slack, and I can maybe ask a couple people, but unfortunately, I can't have any type of guarantees for you for that. DigiVoice posted shipito.com for package forwarding. So, you know, Simon, you might be able to use their services to, I guess, forward your package. They'll order it for you. That's my assumption in terms of this. So, yeah, thank you, DigiVoice, for providing a potential solution. So Hassan says, awesome. You know, we can't use Bixby in the Samsung remote test lab, neither Devar's farm, so that's icy. So yeah, I know that some places at Samsung, it's pretty difficult to, they have a pretty strong firewall, here and stuff. So yeah, it can be difficult to use some services. So, okay. And so Simon, you can also, if you have any friends and family here, you can ask them to help, or you can try out DigiVoice's solution of shipito.com. So, all right, let's see. Morph is asking, is there a way to disable a block of code in the view, etc., and JS this? Okay, so yes, you can disable stuff in views. Let me just go to a view real quick. And then why don't I use the snazzy command P output view right here. And you can just, let's say I want to disable this conversation driver, just hit command ? Or you can manually add two of those, but I'm hitting command P, or sorry, a command ? or control ? on Windows. So yeah, you can disable code in views just like that. You can do that in layout macros as well. All right, so let's see. Okay, quick question from Alarna. I can see that you are typing it right now. How do conversation drivers know what they are mapping to? Okay, so conversation drivers are attached to a specific view. So when this result view appears, so in this case, this is matching the output from the copycat model. So let's say, hey, these are my conversation drivers. Oh, okay, got to compile. And okay, so here you can see that when this output is matched, this specific result view, you can see that the conversation drivers are down there. So if you're asking what do the conversation drivers do when you click on them, they're basically an outer utterance. So let's say if I start my capsule, or let's say here, this would be, clicking on this would be the same as saying check models to Bixby. So hopefully that answered your question. If not, feel free to, clarify. So, okay, when will the results of the competition be available? And let's see, 1 to 2 weeks after the December 9th, cutoff date. So yeah, that's when we'll be announcing that. And how will we be announcing them? We'll notify the winners by email, and we'll probably post something on our YouTube channel too, and on our Twitters as well. So if you're not following that stuff, please do so. And just in case, yeah, so youtube.com/cbixby developers. Always got to plug that. And okay, we're reaching the last 4 minutes of this, and I see there's still a couple questions left. Feel free to ask those on Slack, because unfortunately we have to do the raffle right now. So, David, would you like to do the honors and do the raffle? Okay, I can hear David.
All right, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you, David.
Okay, let me get my video up.
There you are.
Hey, Bixby World. I'm going to be doing another raffle this week. As Jonathan stated, please follow our social channels to keep up to date regarding any information about DevJam. Please go check out our videos on our YouTube channel. Please comment on them if you like them. That would also be a big plus and get you recognized from the review team. Hopefully that also helps speed up your review process based on your comments and reviews on our YouTube channel. Great. So we have 68 new submissions that I will be reading off. And good luck to everyone. Bixby, pick a number between 1 and 68.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 54.
All right, 54. Mark Tucker. All right, congratulations, Mark Tucker, for his capsule.
Woohoo!
Oh, okay. It's the shooter tracker, which actually is very timely. I think in terms of today's political climate, and I think it's something that is something very, very valid, where we're able to track specific catastrophes to also then help improve society by being aware of things and issues like these that are going on. So congratulations, Mark Tucker. Great job. And we're going to do one more. All right. Bixby, pick a number between 1 and 68.
Processing some equations. Okay, your number is 55.
All right, 55. Mark Phillips. Awesome for Simply Spoken. Congratulations, Mark Phillips. Congratulations for all of you that participated in today's raffle, and good luck. And looking forward to seeing your winning capsules. Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, had a great time again hosting these, and thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate it. And be sure to stop by our next webinar, and can't wait to see what capsules you guys submit. Also, this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel as usual. And awesome. See you guys around.